Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Chicago 16-inch Softball Hall of Fame. We are located right down here in Forest Park, in downtown Forest Park, and we set aside this hour and basically for about a half hour to talk to Hall of Famers, teams that are in the Hall of Fame, and we are in this beautiful building that has jerseys and the artifacts and articles and everything else. Our president, Paul Rowan, sets aside this time every Saturday, and it's truly appreciated, especially by me and, of course, the inductees, the teams, and the board of directors here, and the audience that does come a lot of times here on Saturday. Today, we have a special treat, a gentleman that was inducted here on October 28th, just a few weeks back. The time is flying on us. We are today truly honored to have Bobby Olsen on, who was inducted.
Thank you very much.
Bobby growing up on the Northwest Side. Bobby?
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks for coming down here today into the hall. This is a great day to see you. And Paul mentioned you were going to be down here. So I says, well, we got to get Bobby Olsen on the show here today.
A true honor.
Thank you. Thank
It
you
is.
so much. Thank you. Bob, just off camera now, a few minutes ago, we were talking about that you had gone to Taft High School.
Correct.
So do you start playing this as a teenager, or do you start playing this in
16.
grammar school?
No. Around I would say junior, when I was
Junior, yeah.
a junior
Um,
in high school.
the
Over by Horner.
Horner Park,
Horner
sure,
Park.
Irving in California.
You got it.
You got it. Great
That's
leagues
right.
there, and I'm sure you saw some
Yes, I did.
some great players. Did Taft have a softball team at that
No,
time? They
no.
did not. Okay,
They
Yeah.
did not.
right. I went to the Catholic school not too far from there, but of course on the Northwest Side, Holy Cross, and they didn't have one either. So
I ran track,
okay,
so
so maybe
that
this,
kinda
well,
helped.
this is,
That
you're
kinda-
beating me to the question here
Okay.
now, meaning, so you ran track, so because you started off basically as a right fielder, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and
Right field.
and then for some reason, I think that track does help you because now you move to center field.
Center field, yes,
And
and
now-
I pretty much held it.
Right. You
Yes.
could cover the gaps
From
then
there
pretty
on.
well.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, for sure. You know, and that, and for people who have not played the game of softball,
Right.
Bob, you can correct me here, because I was also
All right.
an outfielder. Playing center field, boy,
You'll cover them both.
you're covering both and you're the quarterback out there.
Absolutely.
For sure. Get the love from your brothers, because I think it was the Dogs. You played with the Dogs.
Exactly.
Um,
Yes, I did. That was excellent to play with them, and it was just awesome
Yeah, I mean,
to play with my brothers. But then as I got older and I got the phone calls, to play other places.
yeah, like for example, hey Olsen, what do you think? Let's do here. So were you one of these gentlemen too that had the 5 jerseys in the car and
I
you were
did,
one?
I did.
Which see, so did you ever think, Bobby, that from let's say playing with your brothers at that early start, that this was gonna turn into something like, wow, that feeling of this game for me always was, I can't wait till next year or the fall ball and everything else.
Yes, I can recall growing up and as I played throughout the years, that you couldn't wait to play the evening, and if there, you always got up,
Right.
to play it. And back then, I don't know, the ball from the 80s is not the same as it is right now. The balls when I played were hard, and they were hard throughout the whole game.
You really felt
Oh,
that
yeah.
they were hard
Oh,
the whole game.
They were
And
great balls back
thanks for bringing that up. As we
It's
know,
changed.
oh sure,
It has.
Thanks for bringing that back, because I remember, playing, and of course the nervousness of that first one that's gonna get hit to you. No
Right.
matter if you're playing the hot corner at third or you're the outfielder like you were. that first one, boy, you just wanted to catch it and get the feel of this ball, because when you're taking the batting practice, or when you're catching the one that's in the bag that's been beat up a little bit, now here comes, like you said, this thing, and it is a
rock.
yeah, right. You catch it the wrong way, and yeah.
And Clarendon Park, if you've ever played there, where the balls would come out of the freezer frozen,
Oh,
and they had water in them, you know,
oh,
they
geez.
they were heavy balls, heavy balls.
Not
back
to
then.
keep elaborating on this, Bobby, but was there a reason for them to do it that way? This was a
Well,
first parent, so this is interesting. for me.
No, Clarendon Park, if for anyone that hasn't played there, the porch in left was not that long.
Okay,
The fence was high, but they had to keep the ball in
okay,
you know the park.
got it.
So that ball was a very heavy ball.
Heavy ball, wow.
Yes.
You know, again, thank you for bringing that up.
Amalga Monsters and all the teams that played there, they had big hitters, so they had to keep the ball in the
Wow,
park.
wow.
And they
that-
had big hitters.
So
trust me.
this was the reason to do, this is a first for me to hear something like this. And I gotta tell you, don't know if you're Sox or Cubs, it doesn't matter in this, what I
Right.
gotta bring up. I think Paul Rowan is in our audience today. A story that I got a chance to interview the great Rocky Colavito, who played here for one season on the South Side. He was a famous Cleveland Indian.
Okay.
And in his book, and he tells me in the interview, that the Chicago White Sox in 1967 put the baseballs in the freezer before the
Absolutely.
game
Absolutely.
to deaden this ball, because old Comiskey supposedly was. So this is a great analogy.
That's the reason.
You go on to, I think from the Dogs, then you go on to go Youngblood, Scorpions. Yeah. Were your brothers, by the way, how much older were the brothers that you played with?
We're all around the same age, a year after each other.
Gotcha.
So we're all around the same age.
Okay, so when you went to these other teams, where is it like, hey, you know, of course, there's always the brotherly and family love. Was there that thing, hey, Bobby, what are you doing? We
No,
need you.
no,
Nothing
no,
like that,
no.
nothing like that, right? No.
No,
You
they
made
were
time.
happy for me.
Very good,
They were happy.
very
for
good.
me. And they've always been happy
Yeah.
for me.
So they saw that advancement.
Correct.
I mean, yeah, that is something, because, boy, I'll tell you, you know, you could see just by the resume here that I'm looking at just before I came here today, and some of the things that I'm gonna mention about tournaments and MVP awards that you've had in the ASA and everything else. You wound up playing in leagues like at the Paul Revere, Potawatomi, Hamlin, Portage. I mean, you kind of were all over the Northwest side. These are the parks that I would go and watch or go and
Oh,
play
right,
with
right.
at the lower at level.
Good
Uh,
parks, good parks.
What was the feeling for you, knowing that you were making this advancement where, you know, guys are calling you? Let's say if I was running the team Ales, and, you know, we would like to have you in the outfield for this. How was it for you? You knew you had this talent?
I knew I was quick and everybody wanted that.
Well, yes.
The
yeah.
quickness and
Right.
good hands. And I could hit, so I guess the combo of everything helped.
That leads me to my next question. So,
I'm not a large guy.
no, okay, but that leads me to my next question in the sense of this, playing with all these teams, and you were well received there, very well received by all these teams. Do you think you were the better defensive player or the better offensive player? I mean, what do you think Bob Olsen in your mind was remembered for?
A combo, I would say. I wouldn't say one or the other.
Right,
I think I was pretty much even,
right. Oh, great,
so.
great. And I think that's the type of ball player we want. We don't want just a guy that can, okay, you know, he can hit, but boy, oh boy, you know, he's gonna make 3 errors in a game, you know.
Right.
Exactly.
And back then, playing with your hands, that's a plus, you know?
That's
So,
a plus. And
a glove,
I'm
anybody can catch with a glove,
yes,
you would think.
right, and you know, I'm sure you had to make some one-handed catches in your day too.
I did, as a matter of fact.
For the people that are watching Bobby and I today, when this comes out, you'll see, I'm just looking at our Bobby's hands and my hands. We do have
Well,
this
I have a couple that are
raised knuckles, and it's not,
broken and
yeah,
sideways.
it wasn't from playing marbles. Yeah,
Right,
that's for sure.
It comes with the game.
Yeah, it
If you notice anyone that has ever played the game of softball, their hands are not straight.
right. Well, yeah,
I should say the fingers are not straight.
you know, the crazy thing of this was I had a friend of mine who wanted to play so bad, was a good hitter. I go, we'll put you at catcher. He goes, well, I don't want my hands looking like yours.
Right.
Well, the first night he plays with us, he breaks his arm. So I was like, okay, here we go, you know. But I have to tell you, this is just really amazing, because a couple of years later, you played for a team called the Wedge.
Wedge was a nice team. Too.
Yeah,
Excellent team.
That's it. You go back and look at this, you know, you just go back and look at this, and it just really means a lot, because I always tell everybody that I've interviewed, or the teams that have come in here that I've interviewed, when you are representing and you're, you know, you get the call from a Paul Rowland or the board of directors here. How was that call for you now that you're going in to the Hall of Fame of this Chicago 16-inch softball? What goes through your mind when a Paul Rowland calls you?
The evening I got the call, we had just gone out to eat, and I came back and I had the phone on off. So I turned it on. I received it on my phone. It was from a Paul, and I played it over a couple of times.
Wow.
Because you know what? You don't get those calls.
Right. You don't get those calls.
I got that call, I played it, and I called Paul back. But he called others, so Paul and I spoke. And it's just an honor.
Wow.
A true
Yeah,
honor. I mean, I wasn't.
You weren't expecting it,
no,
and that's the beauty of that
I
call.
was not expecting it.
And like I tell everybody here, Bobby, that I've interviewed here in the last year, because Paul gave me this opportunity to do this program for the Chicago 16-inch. Everybody I talk to, and just looking at you today, you see that emotion and that love and the passion, because, you know, this is something we did our whole lives.
Right, and I did it for, you know, the joy of.
Right.
And it's just an honor.
You know, and
really
it's always going to be remembered. You know, it's the beauty of this is you see it. Like I said, we're in this beautiful building here today where we do these interviews from, and you look at some of these jerseys, and I'm sure if I went around this room today and looked at some of these articles, your name is mentioned somewhere, or as a team that maybe won a championship and everything else. I'm just looking at this again. You also. We're talking about the 16-inch game, but at one time you were trying out for the 12-inch in 1980. I know this league kind of folded, but
the Pro Softball League, yes. I got a call. I think it was from Ed Zolna.
Yes.
I got the call from him, and I went out to practice, and I practiced one time, and then I was asked to join him again and again, and then I got a call saying that everything was.
That's a game. Now you talk about tell me if I'm wrong. That's a game where, you know, we're playing with this baby, which is a 16.
You're going
now. We're going to a 12, and I remember playing later on too. I think it was right around the time I got married, 84, 85. Bobby.
Yes.
When I got out there, and there were, you know, basically 4 outfielders.
Right.
And now this ball's coming out to me. We did play with a glove. Now this ball's coming out to me, and that's coming out a little faster. That's when I knew that this little Italian is done. This one's gonna be too quick.
That ball
moving
is a rock.
Right.
It moves, yeah.
How was it for you when you were going through this? Did you play 12-inch even though this league folded? Did you play 12-inch? A lot of 12-inch?
No.
Okay.
But it really wasn't hard. Because you had the glove, And playing the game of this where the ball's coming at you like this.
Sure.
So it really wasn't,
Right.
it wasn't that much of a change.
You know what I loved about the 16-inch game, and I can see it about you too, is that the 16-inch game, yes, we did use our hands, but your hands now it became the confident thing that you knew, okay, this is what I got, this is what I gotta do. And for some reason it became like, these were our mitts, I call them.
Exactly.
These were our
And
mitts.
that's why a lot of everyone, when the ball comes at you like this.
Yeah. Like a knuckleball, basically.
Yeah, it's you really have to have your eyes on the ball
And
all the time.
listen, at the level that you played with all these teams, like, the taggers, the dogs, the inmates, the registers, the hoods, the bad apples, the chasers, this is phenomenal.
And these are not all of them.
Oh, no,
I mean, you get a call to play here, play there.
Right, yeah. Listen,
but these are.
if this was all of them,
Majority.
I would have had to tell Paul, yeah, we need till 3:30 here
Right.
to talk about it. I know we don't have that kind of time today, but that's just amazing. And that is a testament to you, of what kind of a player you were to see all these teams, and then also to try this. And this is when we're talking the 12-inch that me and Bobby are just touched on, this was a league, this was a professional league.
It was.
Not let alone, we had a guy on here, Mr. Spivey, that got inducted the same night as you, a pitcher. Sonny, Sonny. And Sonny says, John, this ain't amateur hour, he told me. He was sitting right there in that same chair. He goes, this is also professional too. So, to you to be even thought of here is, of course, a testament to how you played the game. Let me just run past this so our audience knows this. You played in this 1980 Ed Kelly tournament. You were the MVP on the Youngbloods.
Yes, sir.
Then in 1982, you played on the Midwest tournament, Metro MVP at Clarendon Park with the Scorpions.
Yes.
And then in 1982, Hamlin Park tournament MVP, the Scorpions again. And then 1994 All-American team, ASA Major National Championship tournament with the Inmates. And the 2001 men's ASA 16-inch Class A first team All-American March Manufacturing. I mean, this is a gap here. We're talking 1980 to 2001. This is over a 20-year span. So those legs were really hanging on out there. Were you still playing center field up until 2001?
Yes, I was.
Okay. All right. Somebody kept you in good shape. Maybe it was the that is fantastic. I mean, just to look at that and everything you've done here. Bobby, is there any one thing, like, you go back and you look at this, I always go back, I didn't play at the level of you guys, but I'll always go back and I'll say, God, meet up with a couple of buddies. John, you remember that game at Horner Park and you made that diving catch and the bases were loaded? Are there a couple of games that stand out in your mind that you want to remember for a hit or a catch?
I remember almost all of them because
wow.
Yes, everything on there. I remember. I remember the first few. You hit a homer in each of the championship games, and of course, there's a chance you could be MVP.
Right.
But in the early years, when I hit, I played well in all of the ones there, and that's why I am in.
Yes, without question. I mean,
there,
this resume alone, like you said, if we had more time, I would like to elaborate on all this. But this is just tremendous. I mean, this is over a 20. I mean, well, if we take 1976 in account when you started, this is a 25-year thing of just dominance, in my opinion.
I was really blessed to be healthy, and that's really the key. Is to have your health, to be able to.
Yeah, without our health, you're right, Bob. We cannot do this without question. Do you remember the rivals that became that became friends? Which is always the beauty of this sport. Meaning,
it really is. The friendships that I've created throughout the years, a lot of which I hold right now.
Oh, wow.
It's really a blessing.
Blessing for sure. Oh, my God.
And like it is, you said, you run into other players you played against 15, 20 years ago, and you can recount a play that happened here or there, and you go over it, and it's just like it happened. You know, it's like
You relive it in your mind.
exactly.
You know, it's just like
It brings you back.
it brings you back.
It really does.
Yeah, or I'm sure you've gone to a restaurant with your wife and you bumped into somebody, or vice versa. Oh my God, Olsen, you wrecked us in that tournament. You know, you went to.
I've heard that a few times.
Yeah, you know, and that is that feeling of, you know, that just, you know, it never leaves you. The game,
It never
leaves you. It just,
You're right.
it never leaves you. This is fantastic. Over the years, I gotta ask you this. Besides your brothers, can you, from maybe that start at Horner when you started when you were 16 till the end, is there a couple of guys that you want to mention here today, mentors besides you, and of course, please mention your brothers, whatever that were.
Wally Peck
Okay,
is one. He kind of, when I was 18, 19, he took me to all these triple SAs and back then and on this and that. So that really helped me to want to play in the ASA, and that was huge.
right.
And the players I played with, I can't really go into saying who's, because
Yeah,
there's so
so
many,
many.
and I don't want to leave anybody
No,
out.
yeah,
But just tremendous guys.
yeah. And Peck was this type of guy that was looking out for you, right?
Oh yeah, Wally
Yeah.
Peck was great guy.
Yeah.
And he is a friend.
Sure.
And just everyone that I've ever played with has just been awesome.
Sure. Oh, I can imagine.
And the friendships that I have with all of them is just great.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the saying is we're here for a short time, but that's just beautiful what you said, because, you know, when you're playing this game and it's, you know, it's a team game. I'm sure if you had to look back at all the ones that I did mention here earlier, I mean, I'm sure there's special ones, but you could probably say, hey, listen, all these guys, you guys went to battle every night, right?
We did, but you know what? It's not only the players that are in the Hall of Fame, it's the guys from 12 all the way to 18 that really don't have a chance to play much, but yet they show up game after game after game.
Exactly.
Those are the guys that I mean,
Sure.
that's tough.
That's tough, you know.
And they're there every game.
Every game, and I'm sure, like, what I've talked with Paul over this last year, and I've talked to so many players of your caliber, and they've always said, you know, there were commitments that we had to break with our families to make these games.
Oh, there were a lot of them. I mean, growing up playing in all the round robin tournaments and you know, the weekends, it's tough.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of them that I was not able to come to because I was playing.
Sure. And
softball.
Again, to remind our audience who maybe has never played this game, and to the ones that have played the game, about, you know, Chicago 16-inch softball in the day of a Bobby Olsen and a Paul Rowan and the rest of these gentlemen, this wasn't one game a night. You know,
No, we're right from park to park.
Right,
Sure.
You know, I can remember one time my wife told me, "What's that smell coming out of the back of the trunk?" I go, "That's my jerseys from last week." But yeah, no, I can imagine it just is something. I really never asked this question, but this for me today is really something special, because maybe it was more of a one-on-one, because a lot of times I have to do two people, or I have to do a team representatives. If you had to look back at something, how do you want to be remembered? Not as the offense and the defense. How do you want to be remembered after getting this prestigious award on October 28th at the drink?
Well, I've always treated the players on either team, whether it be our team or the other team, with respect.
Right.
And that's all I would want
Yeah.
from anybody.
Very
And,
nice the way you said it.
You didn't, I would say it happened almost all of the time, but you had a few here or there that
Of course, yeah, that's gonna happen, but
people get hot heads, but
yeah,
overall, everything was great.
but the key word here, and it goes back to team, Bobby, like you're saying, and it's the respect. I wanna read something.
Sure.
That
please.
I think this is coming from you.
Yes.
Bobby says, to my family and friends, coaches and teammates, thank you for making this the special journey that it was. Thank you for your support, for your guidance, and for your shoulders when I needed it most. Bobby, I gotta be honest with you, if we had a little bit more time, I mean, I went through everything that I knew about you, heard about you, the respect that the board here of directors had for you to get this prestigious award. I wish I could have been there to see it
Thank you.
because do you remember your speech from that night?
Yes, I did.
Tremendous honor, just a tremendous.
A great honor.
Anything in closing that you'd like to say?
No, just to Paul, I really appreciate everything, and this place is,
Unbelievable, right?
it's awesome.
Yeah,
It really is.
to be in here when he told me last year, we're gonna do this a weekly series with teams. And
Really
yeah,
nice.
I mean, it's been going on for 1 year, and I was touched, I was nervous because, you know, I wanted to do this because I also played this game too, but it has really opened up my eyes. Again, you think you know something, then when I sit with these guys like you and you know, other players, it's just like, wow, my God, I heard about this guy, you know, 20 years ago, you know, he could hit the gap or he was hitting 500 feet home runs and everything else. Bobby Olsen, I always leave it like this.
Thank you.
You were really truly a player that's always going to be remembered, a well-deserved honor, and great to know that you, my friend, were
Thank you.
part of a dominating bunch.
Thank you very
And
much.
I truly thank you for this day. I was totally honored myself. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will see you again here at the Chicago 16-inch Softball Hall of Fame in the coming weeks. Our thanks to Paul Rowan for setting it again, and the board for setting aside this time to talk to again Hall of Fame inductee Bobby Olsen. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.